Hey everyone, once again I've combed through dozens of home screen submissions. I've picked the 3 that I like the most and would like to share with you guys, so let's get right into it. My name is Taylor Martin, you are watching XDA TV, and this is the Homescreen Critique. This week, all 3 home screens come from the XDA thread where everybody shares their favorite home screens, and the first one up is from Alan Smith E, or Smithy? I don't exactly know, but this home screen is really nice. It's very clean, and I like that everything kind of goes together. I will say that the icons stick out a little bit when compared to the wallpaper. You have kind of a matte look or a faded look for the colors on the background. Not quite pastel, but that kind of faded look. The icons, however, are a little more vibrant, I guess. I would probably change that, but I really like the wallpaper a lot. He's running Android Marshmallow, and this is Nova Launcher. The widget you see up top is Month Calendar widget. When it comes to the icons, there are actually 2 different sets of icons. The top are the long shadow icons, the ones that are actually on the home screen, and the ones in the dock are min icons. Then for the top, you have the clock and the battery percentage. That is a custom widget. He's done some custom work here. There are no nav buttons visible, and then you have the status bar, which is very transparent. You can barely see the signal meter on the left, and then you have an alarm icon on the right. And then on the next page, you have a little 2x4 grid of icons there. Those are the same long shadow icons, and that is Eye in the Sky for the widget. I think this is a very clean and functional home screen. I'm not sure why the decision was made to use 2 different sets of icons, but I don't hate it. I would just choose a different icon set for those on the home screen, because those that are white go very well, and I think honestly those would look fine if they were on the home screen as well. I would say on design it's probably a 3.5 to 4. There's not anything over the top here, but it doesn't really need to be. And as far as utility goes, I'd say it's probably a 4.5, because you've got a lot of different icons here. I don't know what most of them are, or a lot of them, I don't know what they are, but it looks very functional. It looks like a really nice balance between design and function, and I really like it. So the second home screen comes from Hyra-Ethic or Hyrathic, not exactly sure, but there's not as much information on this one. The only information posted at all with the home screen is that it's using the Simpacts icon set. Other than that, I have to assume that this is custom live wallpaper, because I think it's just one single home screen. If you tap the plus icon, I'm assuming what the second home screen shared is what happens when you tap that. It expands and shows the weather, the date, and some music controls or what's currently playing. But there on that bottom dock, you have the date and the time, which is actually spelled out. So you do have 2 clocks, and then you have 4 icons, and I imagine the X probably opens the app drawer. I do like the icons. We've seen them before in one of the previous submissions. I like the Simpacts icons. You do have custom nav buttons here. No information on what they are, but I do like that they're filled in with colors. I would have personally made the colors, if I could, if you can change the colors of the nav bar, match the colors that are on the screen. So the blue in the circle match the blue in the wallpaper or in the plus button, the red matching the more matte red on the icons, and yellow, I'd make it match something, maybe, I don't know what color. But you do also have a custom status bar. The clock is centered. You have network and Wi-Fi status on the left, and then you have battery and charging status on the right. I'm not quite sure what the 3 bars are. I think that's probably vibrate, if I'm going to guess. But really, that's everything. There's nothing else to it, and we don't know anything else about it, whether there are swipe gestures or anything. I would say that if it had swipe gestures, it'd probably be very utilitarian and really nice on design. I'd say on design it's probably a 4. It looks really great, but as far as utility goes, there's just not a ton here, and without more information it's hard to guess at what might be done beyond what you see. So I'd say it's probably 3 as far as utility goes, but it looks really nice. Okay, I'm gonna start by saying that this last one is not my favorite. There's a reason I didn't use Windows Phone when I had the opportunity, that I chose Android over Windows Phone, but I also have to say that I didn't hate the Windows Phone interface. Still, this one's not my favorite just because it's black and white. There's no kind of pizzazz to it. There is a little background color which matches the standard Android notification background color, but for the most part it's just black and white, which makes it a little bit dull, but there's a ton of stuff packed here. This one comes from Rashad83, so this one does look very much like Windows Phone, and that's because he's using Launcher 8 WP, which is designed to make your phone look and sort of operate like Windows Phone, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just very cluttered, and there are a ton of apps here and a lot going on. There's a giant button for the phone, that's the first thing that jumps out at me, and then an analog and a digital clock, which is a little redundant. There's also a weather widget and a bunch of comms and social apps there in the middle to the right of the dialer icon, music controls, and then you have just some more icons at the bottom. It does scroll vertically, so it's not pages, it's one vertical page that you can scroll up and down, and there are more icons at the bottom. You'll notice there are no navigation buttons, and that's because he's using something kind of like Pi Launcher. He calls it LMT, which I'm not exactly sure what LMT is, but it looks very much like Pi Launcher, which is something I used in the past, which means you touch somewhere on the side of the screen and it will reveal this radial selector thing where you can touch and slide to activate the back or recent apps or anything else that you've added. It also has a clock and battery status and just a bunch of other information. It's very cool. It's a great way to kind of clean up the home screen a little bit, but in this case, the home screen's still very cluttered, but that's what's going on as far as navigation from the home screen. But still, I do like the way this is set up. I would say, again, I would go for a pop of color. The black and white is a little too dull for my tastes. Doesn't make it much to look at, but I would say as far as appearances go, this is probably a 3 at best, just because it's not anything extravagant. It doesn't look necessarily great, but there's nothing wrong with it design-wise or anything. It's just a little too cluttered for my tastes. But on the flip side, the utility is probably a 5. It's got a bunch of stuff crammed into a small area, and as far as getting to everything you need to at one tap, I think this probably is that. So very cool home screen, but that is going to do it for the home screen critique this week. If you would like to see your home screen featured in the next video, be sure to share it. You can do so by hitting the link in the description down below and going to the XDA thread and posting it there, or you can tweet it to me, but I'm more likely to overlook it or miss it if it just gets lost in the feed on Twitter, which happens pretty often. So with that said, be sure to like this video if you found it helpful and enjoyed it, and also subscribe to XDA here on YouTube. And don't forget to follow XDA in all your favorite places. If you'd like to see more of me, you can find me over at my own channel, which is Mod at Home, where I do some DIY everyday carry stuff, not necessarily always tech videos. So you can find more there, and of course you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CasperTech. One last time, my name is Taylor Martin, and I will see you in the next one.